Okay, hello. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for turning up for this AI and data science meetup what we are hosting today. So, though I believe the Shar had, we have with us Mr. Atul Tripathi. So he just called me up. He is down with fever, but he is very much will try to come. So he is the member of Leaders Excellence at Harvard, and he supports the government organizations for that AI and deep learning in oil and gas. Dr. Abhijit Gangopadhyay. So he will walk you through on artificial intelligence and data science and overview. So for setting up the contest, may I please invite you, sir, on stage. Can we have a round of applause?
Anywhere, I think it's a little closer so that we get something. So welcome from my side and on behalf of all of my colleagues of the situation. I think data is the new oil or fuel, which is actually catalyzing. It is very figuratively, it has been very interesting note on how in India we are standing in the front of the data analysis and data explosions, challenges. I think we need to have some amount of thinking or realigning or with you. All of you know what is happening. Say, I was working in Delhi, say 40 years, 50 years back. I was working in government organizations in Ministry of Defense. I can't imagine that every detail is now available. Data is coming to you and you can analyze. And this probably leads us to a very interesting way of understanding how we can analyze. Say, for example, when I was studying, it was only data which is structured. Statistical analysis in terms of, because unless we process this data, now if the decision making has to be data-based, I think the world will totally look different. But if the decision basis is intuitive, I think you did not require. Now the answer allowed. I think basically we can't decide for you, or you cannot. You have to decide yourself. The reimaging the career options. What you are going to do. So existing nature of jobs which are available with you will be going to be changing, and that is what exactly will happen, and that makes the data science as one of the most attractive, lucrative jobs, because it compensates you well. Analysis of emerging role of artificial intelligence, exploring the artificial intelligence for all. Is it possible? Because say today we go for every particular thing we take, we get an option from, because we operate on our own feeling. So for example, if you look at the why you have selected a particular career option for your education, I think it is because everybody is going. Your neighbor is going, your friend is going. But that's not the way in which. I think we will have a demonstration about that one, that you can really analyze data and take a career choice. And that is what exactly data science is supposed to be. And if you look at it, most of the decisions, be it a corporate strategic option, be it a defense strategic options, India or Pakistan must be working and extensive on the database. Everybody knows who has what. And therefore, that gives a better decision in terms of making any strategic options. If you look at, and therefore, artificial intelligence is we'll discuss a little bit of artificial intelligence also. Getting the basic concept of artificial intelligence we like to cover, and then impact of on the larger society. So, I think the job opportunities, career opportunities are deep if it is analyzed on data. Earlier time, we never used to say, we think that data is absolutely, we need this much of managers, we need this much of technical experts, engineers, and we need this much of teacher for teacher education. But this is not exactly on a basis of particular assumptions. But if today you have an online and interactive data analytical tools by which you can see where you should be going, I think. And say, for example, today if you go for any specialization, I think idea is that you must understand it is the need of the market, and that is what exactly should be done by a data analytical tools. And data science is primarily dedicated for applying this technical skill data for analyzing data for better projection and recommendations. Your experiences in any eBay or any platforms, whenever you are, I think you are more experienced than me in that. And where you go, I think immediately you get lots of recommendations. What exactly it is happening? It actually collects data from you and then recommends to you. And that is what precisely the artificial intelligence or data science is. Data science, it is scientifically analyzing your tenets when you are doing what. I think essentially at home, mother mostly are aware what you are. I think you don't have any doubt, because she knows what you are, what you like, because she is watching you from the child, as a child. But subsequently, we have given it to artificial intelligence. Now Google knows what we are doing. Say, for example, if you today think about us, any of your activities, I think they will give you recommendation. They know which restaurants you go, which shopping place you visit, which mall you go, what you do when you take a taxi, or Ola, Uber, whatever may be. And that, or auto, everything has been tagged. And therefore, data science is everything, you see. Basically, these are the factors which are responsible for data interpretations, data analysis. Implication of data, if you see, then even in the business world, even in the actual world, by business I mean, say, where exactly you are profitably transferring into your marginal cost of production or operations. Now, if you see, identify business initiatives, where exactly, most of us are interested in going for a startup. But for startup, you require identification skills, identifying stakeholders, identifying analytical entities. And if I go by this way, all these things are closely related for him and find out to appreciate you, to give an insight into data applications. And today, when you talk about artificial intelligence, I think today, when we talk about artificial intelligence, I don't know what it means to you. But it means, I think many of you must have understood the broad context of artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence, the term intelligence is also very, very misnomer. I think it's very difficult to define intelligence. And so when you talk about artificial intelligence, it is further difficult. If you look at the artificial intelligence, I don't know how you define intelligence. If anyone can help me in terms of when you say intelligence, what do you mean? Actually, what is intelligence? Yes. It's a type of, it's a good, it's a type of decision making. But when I say that you are more intelligent than the other, what it means? That means you are a better decision maker than others. How you decide, how you take a decision. Basically, decision is, you base your decision on your data, which you have learned. Learning is what is exactly happens. Your capability of learning is a reflection of your intelligence. The faster you learn, the better you learn, actually you become you are branded as more intelligence. In other words, intelligence is an ability to analyze data and based on the data, make a better adaptation. And this is where exactly intelligence is defined. But so far the psychologists, philosophers, those who have coined the term intelligence, and the physicists, they found it very difficult. And finally, they defined intelligence as what an intelligent person does. I think, therefore it is so. And when you talk about artificial intelligence, that means you are trying to simulate intelligence in the real world, which is absolutely quite difficult. I think it's next to impossible, because machine can't be that intelligent. That's why I said my colleagues in the Oklahoma University in US, he is working on intelligence and consciousness. Intelligence also is basically, can a machine become conscious? I think it's very difficult, but it is happening. Say most of the remote surgery today or image surgeries are done by the machines, which is in a higher level of artificial intelligence. And this is actually prompting entire world in terms of simulating intelligence. You think about it, those days when you used to have when you used to consider fuzzy logic. When I was of your age, most of your age, and I think I find then we were thinking, our labs were developing fuzzy logics, which used to be fitted with everyday nuances of life. Say, for example, a washing machine will come fitted with artificial fuzzy logic. Television which come and automatically adjusting the entire visual properties. This is one way of looking at the things. That means it is simulating. But when we talk about artificial intelligence, we go a little beyond. It's again lots of neural and other components are there. Actually, I'll go quickly for this one. Artificial intelligence is simply an ability of the computer to exhibit intelligence. The intelligence can either be a mimic of human intelligence or observe a real-world problems and intelligently find solution of it. Essentially, ability of a computer, which is with you, with all of us. Everything is a computer now. Say today, a cell phone is also almost a full-fledged computer. Say Android phones. Now the question is a thought. Otherwise, it would not have been possible. How to speak, how to identify, how to learn. The machine can be made to learn. In other words, what you are talking about again, you are primarily, besides every learning, there is a set of algorithms. Actually, that algorithms leads you for behaving in an intelligent way, or in terms of processing the data and coming to a better decision authority. And with this, I think we come into a stage when it includes one capacity of logic, understanding, and self-awareness. It's emotional knowledge, creativity, and problem solving. A very intelligent person is able to do all this quickly, so will be the case in case of machines. Intelligence generally attributed to humans, and I think probably very soon you will get at least some lower sets of human ability will be attributed to machine, and that will change the configuration of our entire society. Is your personal computer intelligent? Obviously it is. My household gadgets, all like washing machines, dishwashers, air conditioners, now they are all intelligently sensitizing. Now if you look at this, how they adjust, is again there is a lot of machine learning which has been taken place. And machine learning is another simple form of attributing or designing the algorithm for the machine to operate. Now, are they intelligent? Some say no, but I think it is true that they are not intelligent. They have been programmed in that way. But who is not programmed? When I show you something, I think, say for example, if I show you this, now all of you will be saying it is a microphone. No? But the question is that who has told you if I say it is not a microphone, it is something else, it is a remote, but you will not agree because you have been already programmed. I think whenever you have seen such thing, there is not much of misnomer. I think if God, I don't know how God has created intelligence, but essentially it is again a set of program learning synthesized into your system by which you have understood this is this color, and this gentleman is called male, or this lady is called female. It's basically our women. This is how we have been. I branded it. It could have been other way also. So it is all functions of algorithm or a deep learning or machine learning. And therefore, these are the concepts which are coming very close to your understanding of data science. Now, algorithm is the key to intelligence, which you have discussed. And this key will take you further in terms of your properties. Evolution of algorithm plays an important role in exhibiting intelligence. And I think probably how the algorithms are done in case of your in your technical world, this is attributed to your ability to code. I think basically coding is nothing, developing logic. And therefore, those who are thinking of data science, analysis of data, it will come with lot of examples. I think probably will be given to you in the course of in the next session taken by my colleague. Making better decisions is the key to the success of the business world. Now, the buzzword of today, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, they are all related to data science. I think very soon, if you are here, you will find that this concept will be, at least, we are not anticipating you to be an expert in this area, and many of you are well aware about this concept. Data science is an integration by which I get an excellent analytical tools. Say earlier what used to happen, there was the tools which used to learn and mindlessly used to carry out these tools, the IT tools. But today, data science is giving you a sense of application of tools. How this sense is given? To my understanding, it is your basic knowledge of mathematical skills integrated with your ability to understand a generic statistical way of looking at things. The components of data science, therefore, or artificial intelligence will be a deep, people are driving the cars. I think there's a methodology which is applied, but it is coded in a driver. Similarly, machine can also code in the similar instances. And about intelligence, I think I will like to say that it will be it can't be superior to human intelligence, but it will give a fair amount of non-mechanical way of behaving by a machines, and that is what will happen. Now, what is AI, therefore? By definition, artificial means something which is not organic. Concept and methodologies behind artificial intelligence are not new. They are key factors of advancement of technology and business. Computational hardware advancement, a lack of data to work with business opportunities. Exponential technology for the advancement of example of human development or development of AI is a future way of looking at the emerging world. Now, what will happen? In many cases, you will try to integrate this. This entire approach of data science and artificial intelligence is integrating the basic technical IT tools, technological tools, with your better understanding of better understanding of the functional area. And if this can happen, then you get a better decision. Therefore, it is absolutely correct that data science will give you an organization which is data-driven. So, for example, today you can see through a data analysis, sentiment analysis, unstructured data analysis, what type of predictions are possible to be done, because people are predicting, and therefore, what is happening, that results into a better quality of life for all in our society. Now, when we talk about artificial intelligence, we have different levels of artificial intelligence: artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial super intelligence. These are grades of artificial intelligence. When we talk about artificial super intelligence, it goes to a much higher level in terms of analytical approaches. The alternative interface showing more promises than chatbots. Chatbots is a simpler form of applications of, because if you can make your chat learn, it can immediately interactive, but it has the limitations. You have to make a detailed algorithm to make it more effective. My experience with chatbots, or many of your experience, will be, at some point of time we get frustrated because he does not have any answer. So this is true for any of the robots or any of the simulated system which we have, because almost automated systems. Because in our institute we are often experiencing people, those who are very senior, they are coming for the course, for studying this data science and artificial intelligence courses, primarily because they are finding their job redundant. And I think the redundancy happens when you are at a senior level or at a junior level. And both the levels are vulnerable. So it is always wise to take a calculative risk decision. Then it's basically, if you look at any areas of life, artificial intelligence and data science will be applicable. And today, we don't go by simple selling techniques or conventional managerial techniques. It's a replacement of managerial techniques also. Now, therefore, it will be quite different. If you look at the way in which what the future is shaping for us, experts believe that almost 1/3 of the global workforce will be automated by 2030. I think it will be much earlier. And if you look at it, this automation will give. Say, for example, if you go to any of the real-life examples, I think if you look at the use cases, if you go to your bank, which you are visiting quite often for the last 5-10 years, slowly you are finding less number of people are positioned there. Why? Because most of their jobs, actually, they are redundant. They don't need any physical outfit of any bank. Say, at least I don't remember, although I don't have much money, but whatever money I have to transact to the bank only. So, but I have never been in banks, because it's not required. If you think about the Citibank, which they say that they don't sleep, as I know, but they don't hardly have any outfit. They don't go physically. They don't work. They work through machine interface. So if that be the reality, slowly you will see physical outfit. I think probably railway need to close down all its booking counters. And it is not required, because you have an Android phone, you can purchase your ticket and go through that. And this is the exchange of automation which has actually happened. And this automation, behind the automation is you have enhanced skills for data analytics. You are able to do that. Your processing ability is more. A lot of people assume automation is the only going to affect blue-collar employee. It may not be. It will affect all. And so that so long as you go to the university, you will be immune to that. It is not true. White-collar jobs also will be getting affected. And that is why probably we have to refresh our understanding. And for that, you need to be innovative also. My understanding of data science will lead for a better innovations in the society, which will present a more futuristic perspective. And therefore, future will be interfacing with better equipped artificial intelligence programmed or better algorithmic robots, which will be able to solve many of my problems, which is not been solved by others. Another thing is that I'd like to appeal to you, when you are thinking about data science and this one, don't attach any human sentiments. I think giving work of human being, which does not justify his existence, is a matter to be cared for. Because if he is doing, most of us, those who are doing, I think, most of the IT jobs, at some point of time, it is doing the same job again and again, which can be given it to a machine. And probably, and that is what is going to happen also, and is happening. So why not upskill yourself, and then instead of sitting on the bench, waiting for a similar type of request from other job to come, I think it's better that we design the jobs and we become, if you look at the world, and I think Mr. Bhupesh will be also discussing with you, it will be very interesting that if you look at this way, that means it is not your redundancy, it is your compulsion of thinking alternatives. And that is what exactly data science is forcing you. Because people are getting really tired, I think. Say, for example, most of the developers actually don't develop. They simply do something which they get tired of. So the challenges are, last year report of McKinsey suggested that 80 million career, 30% of the global job force, from doctors to accountant, I think nobody is exempted from that, no exempted category. Lawyers to journalists. Believe me, my understanding is that medical profession is going to be worst affected if we are getting this integration of data science. And already IBM's medical analytics are wonderful. Watson is a wonderful way of thinking. I think most of the cases, complicated neural surgery are not being done by any neurologist. They maybe they are standing as a stat back. I recall a very instances which my professor used to tell, that there was a time will come. Earlier, their aircraft was, say, for example, if it's a Dakota, a small aircraft carrying 30 people, used to have a 10-member crew because they needed lots of analysis on the flight to understand how the flight is going. Today, we have a jet, Boeing or Airbus. I think it is carrying 400 people. And I think now prescription is to have 2 pilots and co-pilots. Earlier radio and so many other engineers on the board was there. Now why 2? They say the recommendation is 1. Because the aircraft is so well, so intelligent that it can take any eventualities. So a dog has to be there, they say. No co-pilot. Co-pilot should be dog. Dog, why dog? Because dog will bite the person, pilot, if he does something. Because absolutely nothing to do for a pilot. That's why they get time to relax and sleep. Because machine has become so advanced that it can take a decision. When you are on an auto landing mode, actually you land without taking any risk. If the moment you want to take risk, machine will not allow you to perform. So is the case with the robotic surgery. So is the case with the radio imaging diagnosis, where exactly the machine is deciding for you. And I think on what basis machine decides is collecting data, analyzing it, supplemented by its super intelligence ability, and then giving you the recommendation what it should be done. And this is in precise these steps of data science. And therefore, while every single worker on earth will need to adapt, and then as their occupation evolve alongside the increasing capability. Therefore, this is not a warning. This is one of the ways in which realistically you can think of. Other suggest that 50% of machines are taking the cognitive capability, beginning to compete with our ability. Now, if this happens, say for example, today we have a huge backlog in our criminal justice system. It will not be there, because believe me, it's very difficult for a judge to take the entire analysis, because the judgments are an outcome of data analysis. You have to take this because our legal system is purely based on the antecedents. Now, you have to analyze this, say for a country like us or US, which is very complicated in terms of our legal systems. Now, the judges have to spend time for writing a judgment. But if you have an analytical tools, aiding judge to write the judgments, I think it will be better. Therefore, I don't know whether the judgment will be pronounced by a judge, but the judgment will be written by a machine. And that's the scenario which you can anticipate in real time. So beyond that, it gets more unpredictable. We really don't know what is going to happen. Data science is all about future. No, it's not future. It is today's world. It has already affected. Now, before election, we come to know who is going to be elected. It happens. You know, if it's local level, regional level, national level, international level. Now, this is what exactly is the scheme of things to happen. 3 impacts of artificial intelligence, to sum it up, or the data science. The transportation industries look that it will be first completely disrupted by artificial intelligence. I think the clear case of transport management is you can experience. In India, we are the last to experience everything what happens in the world, but today we are experiencing Ola, Uber, be it taxi, auto, has changed the way you used to travel. And I think it is a wonderful opportunity for anyone to understand how data analytics could give you an edge in terms of your living. Next industry disrupted by artificial intelligence will be criminal justice system. I have a feeling that today, I think the due process of law takes so much of time, but it is because of our ability to analyze, human ability. It's to some extent it's limited. We cannot analyze and we cannot do that justice to all the data. And therefore, you have to have a number of appealing processes. So these technological startups are using it for automatic legal work. Artificial intelligence is going to be targeted and personalized advertising agency, marketing. So for example, today, if you are thinking about marketing, they spend huge amount of effort, energy, and time. But the moment you have a database, data science approach with fortified by artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning competencies, I think probably you can better take a decision. This is what exactly this one. Therefore, what is it is going to affect all parts of your life. And therefore, and it is always better. And one thing is one objective is that artificial intelligence or data science need not be restricted to IT professionals only. It has to be incorporated. You require all around. So we have found that all sphere of activity is given. Even it should be it should be studied by the medicine doctors, it should be studied by the engineers, it should be studied by the commerce graduate, even humanities graduates. I don't know. The sky is the limit for the scope of artificial. It's touching all, and its application is overwhelming. With this, I think I'll take if you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll be there. And my colleague will be coming. And then he will be explaining you the actual things happening in artificial intelligence. He will give you whether it's a myth or something. I don't remember his topic. So I'll request. Ritin, will you come or I'll? Thank you. Well, no, it is not. It's just not possible because if you look at the neural components and the cognitive ability, I tell you, see again, whatever we have discussed so far, I have told you that this is based on structuring of algorithm, getting logic, but logic has to be evolved by that. There's a lot of slips between cups and
collaboration. We started telecommunication management, and that was one of the first rare example of industry and academia collaboration established. And Airtel also supported IIT Delhi, and they started Bharati School of Telecom. Everybody became either deep learning expert or AI expert, right? And including some of my students as well, right? In 2014-15, I used to see there were hardly 45 data scientists in this whole country, and most of them I know. Today, you search on LinkedIn, and there are almost over 1 million data scientists. I don't know from where, right? But I think Aman and Anchal will talk about what real data scientists are and what they actually do. Okay, so we have academic collaboration with these 4 companies: IBM, NVIDIA, which is leader into deep learning, and whatever application you see on Facebook or Google, which is related to image, like you upload a graph on Facebook and Facebook is able to release. Perhaps we are one of the rare institutions across the world which has alliance with these 4 major giants. Program I was talking about, I can download some application, put into your mobile phone, and can read your WhatsApp message and SMS. That's not cyber security, unfortunately. We are rolling out this PGP in applied AI, machine learning, deep learning. This course will be beginning in this year, July. This is the first program we are launching in India. This is how the certification looks like. So from 5 to 15 gone missing, shocking, but this has been happening for last so many years. So child trafficking, women trafficking, human trafficking is a bitter reality of our society, and we have considered that this is a necessary evil which is going to exist. And we have been thinking that, of course, most of you are over here in this morning to know how to really make more money, but data science is not only about making more money, making the society better. So what this project does, so there is an app, right? And so this is the app, right? So this is not available on Play Store because we are doing a beta trial currently. So what you do, once you find a children roaming around, so I'm taking Aman's photograph. Anshul, this will help you if someday he goes missing. All right. So I take a photograph, I got the photograph, I'll upload. So most of these children, they're typically forced into begging trade. And trafficker, they displace them with almost 1,000 to 2,000 kilometers away. Right? So now I took the location that he is here and just upload. It doesn't ask your name, it does not take your mobile number because you don't want to really mess up with these goons, right? Because this is highly, this outside it looks unorganized, but internally it's quite organized crime. So you don't want to really mess up with them. And the photograph gets uploaded taking the geolocation. What it does next is very simple thing. What it must be doing. And mobile number is validated. So somebody will actually come and rescue. Right? So this is how it works, very simple thing. But there are a lot of challenges, right? And the challenge is that you have research scholars and company to collaborate on this project. But by far, this project is ready to be deployed. The entire software piece is also there because deep learning is a very small component in this, right? And a lot of software interface is also there. A lot of awareness from the society and the government is also needed, and that's where in regulatory aspects. So we join hand with National Law University to give a lot of help into regulatory aspect, because if you take a photograph, people will beat you to the death, right, or take you to the police station. So a lot of awareness from the society and support from the police and the government has to be there, right? Very interesting project. Now this project tells you a lot of stuff. What it tells you that a simple problem is not only about technology, it's not only about AI or machine learning and deep learning. It also, you need to understand how the society functions, right? And it also involves a lot of software development as well, right? Because any data science or AI is just a piece of algorithm, right? It need to really survive. So it's just like a soul. How many of you working in software industry? Okay. Any idea how many jobs are there in Java or SQL? Okay, fantastic, good, appreciate. You have some understanding about the number. Okay, so nobody knows about this data, and which is pretty disturbing. Most of you, you are doing your engineering, you don't know, your vice chancellor doesn't know, your director doesn't know, your faculty doesn't know, HRD minister doesn't know, right? AICT chairman doesn't know, nobody knows, right? And the blind man is going towards a direction without knowing whether whatever you're gaining, which will lead to you the job or not. Now, so I met a gentleman called Clement. He is heading the UNDP initiative here in Delhi. UNDP is a part of United Nations, and they advise government. Okay, fantastic. So this is the basically cluster of data science, machine learning, AI, big data, analytics. How many, right? Can you see which is the biggest pie in this? Python. How many jobs are there? 19,000 jobs, right? So when Aman was studying that time, the first time we used to teach R. Now from this batch, March batch, which is going to start, and the batch, what do you say? Hadoop. Where is Hadoop? 737 jobs are there, right? So again, despite of the fact big data is in hype, still the world works on SQL, right? My entire platform is data. So you have Monster, you have Naukri, you have Indeed, right? We scrape this data. We're stealing the data, right? Okay. Machine learning, how many jobs are there? 5,000 jobs are there. Right? So likewise, it's a complete detail analysis. It will also tell you which kind of job these skills are needed. Software engineers. It's not data scientists kind of job, because today's software is smart software. So you know more you're developing a dumb software. And you have to develop the smart software, you need to really know all these kind of stuff, you need to really know machine learning, right? And then of course, second is data scientists, right? It also talks about most of the students when they join the PG, they carry this kind of prejudice. They know that whatever is being taught by the faculty is useless. right? Because you have paid some money, a job recommender system, right? So you don't have to, this job, so you have seen you have seen recommendation system on Flipkart or Amazon or different places, right? So you search for a shirt and gives you the recommendation. So you see, it gives you the recommendation. So this girl has studied data science, machine learning, Python. So you see, this is showing the skills. So manually she can really see how relevant these jobs are. And instead of going Naukri or Monster or anywhere, you can just go over here, click it, right, and apply. So you don't have to really go on LinkedIn or Monster or Naukri or multiple places, right? You can just apply from over here. And this is also available on Android phone. Who developed it? One of my student, Vishy, first batch student who has joined our institute as a research scholar, and a lot of students, right? They build it. It sounds interesting, right? Something you can really relate, but impacts the life of millions. And we have deployed this project in Goa. Goa, this is going to be live. So all the colleges in Goa is now on our platform. So here, this is the Amuni is a separate company, right, which I was talking about. So a lot of products of Amuni are built at Aegis, right? So all the students, all the companies in Goa are using currently our platform, right, which has got the job recommender system. Even the recruiter, they get the recommendation of the candidate. This recommendations is based on the kind of grades you get. So, for example, you have higher grades on Python, you will get more jobs related to the Python. The degree program you have enrolled, so for example, you have enrolled for mechanical engineering degree, right? But at the same time, you have acquired some additional certification on Coursera, maybe on machine learning and Python. So it will not only show you the mechanical job, but also it will show you the jobs related to the Python or machine learning, because you have acquired additional certifications which your college is not aware of, right? Okay, so these are two very interesting projects which really touches the life of millions. And we have set up a center for data science for social good in health, data science for social good in education. Health is headed by Dr. Geeta. And if you pick up a Mint, yesterday's Mint, Dr. Geeta is running another very interesting project. She heads a company called Niramai. And Niramai has done a lot of work on breast cancer prediction. And what they have done, day before yesterday, they got $6 million funding from a Japanese fund. Right? This is the second phase funding. And she's heading our data science for social good in health in Bangalore. And what they have done, so by using mobile phone, you take simple mobile phone, and you take a thermal imaging camera, which costs you almost 15 to 20,000 bucks. Connect it, and most of the breast cancer detection techniques are intrusive techniques. This is non-intrusive, non-touch. You just take the thermal photograph, and they apply the deep learning, and then it can really give you the results. These are the patented technologies, and Bini Bansal has also invested money in her company. Fantastic work, right? So a lot of companies are doing a lot of work on data science, AI, for social good. At the same time, they're making money as well, right? It's not that they are doing the charity. They are trying to really make society much better. Google, Facebook, of course, they are trying to really make it for the money. Like Facebook is using data science to identify which ad you're going to click next. And unfortunately, most of the best brains are working on this issue only, which ad you're going to click next, right? But there are a lot of guys, those who are doing for the social good as well. Okay, so these are the two interesting projects. Likewise, we have done a lot of projects. A lot of research projects are being done at our institute. Right? So I took like a screenshot in case it doesn't work. Sometime it doesn't work. This is one of the another interesting work we have done, which is learners analytics. In one single shot, you get Faculty can really know what students are actually doing. And with this learners analytics, if you see, can you see this attendance? 100%, 100%, 97%, 97, 100%. It looks unrealistic. 6 months back when I proposed that we have to have 95% minimum attendance, and our faculty members opposed it, that this is not practically possible. In normal universities, maintaining even 75% attendance is very difficult, right? But when you have entire courses finished in 10 lectures, and even if you miss 2, and perhaps these 2 lectures are the first lectures in machine learning, you'll not understand anything. So it is very important that yes, you maintain 100% attendance, even not 95% or 90%. And with this learners analytics, we are able to really maintain, because now every student on their dashboard is able to really check what they're doing, how much time they're spending, right? Their assignment and everything. And based on that, we are able to really predict whether this guy is likely to pass this course or not. And now we will be able to really predict any new student who is going to really join, what is his likelihood of actually getting a job or completing the course. Right? So a lot of work we are doing related to education. Okay. Now, in vision of future, most of these robots, Sophia and all these stuff you used to watch in movies, now they have come into our reality. This is something, how it is going to really impact our life. What is our population? Almost 1.25 billion. And half of our population is a working force, which is roughly around 600 million. Out of 600 million, almost 9%, let's take 10%, makes it easier. 60 million people, whatever the job they're doing, in next 4 years, those jobs will not exist. 60 million people, the job they're doing will not exist in next 4 years, right? And 37% they have to hike the salary. And that's the reason they are still keeping it as a software engineer, but underlying skills have changed. Right? Data scientist, this job was non-existent in 2015 in India. Alexa skill developer was non-existent even 1 year back. Computer vision engineer across the whole country, maybe around 20 or 30 jobs. Data scientist for cybersecurity was non-existent 2 years back. So there were a lot of jobs. Deep learning engineer was non-existent 2 years back. Right? AI engineer was non-existent in India. These are AI researchers, they are typically working either in university labs or IBM research center or Xerox research center. But normal companies, they were non-existent. So a lot of jobs were non-existent. Ola drivers was non-existent. Swiggy delivery boys were non-existent. It's not only the top jobs, other jobs also. This is like a future job analysis done by FICCI, NESCOM and EY. Right? Global job analysis, Dr. Gangopadhyay has given the perspective. Now, these are some figures, right? You don't have to, my idea is not to glorify the whole data science and AI over here, but these are some numbers which these companies are talking about, right? One thing which is very important, which we need to really carefully see is this. 80% of all the applications will have AI component by 2020. Most of the software which I see and use today, they are anyway smart softwares. YouTube 10 years back was a dumb software. Today it's a smart software. It has got the human intelligence. It is started behaving like your mother. Your mother knows Monday whether you like a poha or you like a paratha, aloo paratha. If you don't like aloo paratha, she knows what backup you will need. YouTube is like that. You start searching for Rihanna song, it will give you Rihanna song stuff, right? So almost every software, every piece of technology, every piece of software you're going to write, every technology you will build will have some degree of smartness, and this smartness will come essentially from the AI. AI is still vague word. We'll break it down what exactly AI means in today's context, right? What is AI? Okay, that's a full form. That's not AI anyway. Okay, so you're right, right? It's artificial intelligence, presumably that we think that we are a natural human being, which I have a doubt. I think that we are biorobots. So intelligence is also artificial, but we have created another artificial intelligence. So if we transfer this our intelligence to a machine, which is like a CPU, we call it like a artificial intelligence. And whatever the limited understanding we have about human brain, no more, whatever we talk about artificial neural network and all those stuff, we still doesn't have fairly good understanding about the human being, or rather we don't understand how the human brain works. But whatever the limited understanding we have created some algorithms which are really working fairly well. So artificial intelligence is basically anything which is trying to depict the human behavior or human intelligence science. So if I say that this is a snake, will you call me intelligent guy? You'll think that he is an idiot or he is on dope, right? If I say that I am wearing a white shirt, or 2 plus 2 is 30, doesn't sound like intelligent, right? Okay, so intelligence is basically about solving your problems, right? Whether you can really read, or at least whether you can really sound like an intelligent guy, right? These are some depicted human behaviors. And if you have to really pass these things to the machine will also start behaving like a human being. But that's we have a general intelligence wherein machines has been able to really train only on a specific task, either driving cars, either solving puzzles, either playing games, either listening to your voice and doing the translation, those kind of stuff. But the integrated intelligence what human being is having, scientists have not been able to really create. And perhaps that's what Dr. Gangopadhyay was trying to really mean, right? So the AI which we see in Terminator or these kind of movie Alita is far away from the reality, right? So even 2% or 3% we have not been able to achieve, right? It will be a great nirvana if at least before my death I will be able to see those kind of general intelligence, which I don't see will be able to see. When perceptron came in 1956, this kind of hype was also created, which is the hype AI is creating. So a lot of hype is around than the reality. Real applications, even small applications, the recommender system which I have shown you, is still, if you see closely, it has a lot of bugs. Still the accuracy level problem is there. Still a speed issue is there, right? So reaching it to those simple application to a perfection level itself is a huge challenge. Then building up a generic intelligent stuff. But anyway, AI is not a new phenomena. It's more of a philosophy than science. When computers were evolving, scientists thought, how about training machines to do simple tasks which are simple for the human being, just like distinguish between cat and dog, distinguishing between your mother and father's voice, something like that, not making idli dosa. So AI is basically a combination of set of technologies, right, which is with the objective to really create machines which will behave like a human being, right? So let us break down AI for the practical reasons. So AI is a subset of computer science, and if you have to really train machines to learn, right? How do you know that this is a black color? How do you know? Huh? Yeah, so your mother has taught and your father has done a correction on your model, right? So that's how you have learned. And if you have to retain machines on similar thing, you will give this capability through machine learning, right? So for example, you want machine to really, when I'm saying machine, it's basically CPU. You give, say, 100 images of cats and 100 images of dog, feed into the system. And if you show the next image, machine will, with fair accuracy level, will be able to really tell you whether this is cat or dog, right? Or a black or white. So this is how human being learns, and this is how the machine learns actually, right? And this thing you actually give this capability of learning to machines by machine learning, and deep learning is a subset of machine learning, right? Now, can you read this, all of you? Okay, and this capability, if you want to really transfer to the machine, this can come from the natural language processing, right? Like, for example, a real case could be doing the sentiment analysis. So if you really upload some post about Pappu or Jawaharlal Nehru on Facebook, how people are actually liking it or don't like it, so that you can really further push or fine tune it. That's basically comes out of the natural language processing or reviews, whether the product is good or a bad. Then you have seen Alexa, you've seen Sophia, right? So Sophia can really speak to you. And this typically comes from speech to text and text to speech. Most of these technologies were built in IBM Research Center and right here in Delhi. And so these capability comes from speech to text and text to speech technologies. Then the other one is this application which I have shown you, Khojo application. What it does, instead of a human eye, you are giving this capability to this mobile phone to take the picture, and your system will be able to really recognize just like their parents, because their parents knows the children. So this vision capability you have transferred to the machine, right? And computer vision itself is a vast area of computer science, which is growing exponentially, right? And last perhaps is like if you want to give machines capability to really dance, and just like the way I am dancing, this can come from the robotics, right? And that's what the fragmented state of AI is at this point of time. How this will look like in next 5 years or 6 years or 10 years, we can't really predict, right? But this is what the AI is. And all these things together in sync working, very few applications you will find, right? That's the reason we say that most of the AI applications, most of the machine learning and deep learning applications, they are trained for one specific intelligence or one specific task. Either they can really play chess. The system which is playing chess cannot sing a song, right? Or driverless autonomous vehicle AI system will fail maybe answering questions, right, related to history, right? So they have been trained for one particular task. Okay. Okay, so next 5 minutes I'll try to really explain you on 20,000 feet view what is machine learning, right? So the most software developer friendly definition about machine learning is, or perhaps a male and a female, it will be very difficult, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to really break it down. How many rules you're going to really write, right? If a woman cuts her hair, she will look like a male, right? Or even distinguish between cat and dog. And if you can really, simply you can really write a rule-based software that if the height is a greater than, if there is a difference between the height, perhaps the greater one could be the dog, right? And that's the general perception. But the moment your rule-based software comes across with a bonsai dog, which looks like a cat, right? Your logic will fail. Again, you will write a rules. So this rule-based software is not scalable, right? And you have to go on, keep on changing, rewriting the software, just like a spam filter in Gmail. So you can really write a code that if in any subject line, if they see a dollar sign or a free or a jumbo or like your lottery, put it in spam. And spamster can really learn those logic. And they can really change the subject. And they can even change the stuff. So you have to really build some kind of model or build some kind of function which can really learn at its own. And that's all about machine learning, right? And machine learning makes software smarter. So machine learning can do infinite things, but machine learning can only solve a couple of business questions, right? And what are those questions? Number one could be whether it is a Ramlal or Shyamlal or Mohanlal, whether it is a dog, cat, elephant, whether it is white shirt or black shirt or green shirt, right? And this is typically called classification, right? So you have to really classify. And there are tons of algorithms for that. And this comes under supervised learning. And you have to really give, the way I gave you the example, that you show 100 images of cat, 100 images of dog, and system will automatically learn. And this is how your mother have trained you, right? That this is cat and this is dog. So these are typically classification problems. Others could be, kitna deti hai, right? So you want to really find out next Monday what will be the stock price of Tech Mahindra, right? Or you want to really find out how much rain next year Delhi will have, right? Or you want to really find out what will be the population of Delhi in say next 10 years, or how many houses will require in Delhi in next 5 years. So anything which is related to number, right? Even though he doesn't understand any segmentation or a clustering issue, right? And say for example, this group you want to really segment, or if I give you database data of 350 million customers of Airtel, right? You can really segment based on your conceived notion that, okay, I will segment based on age, based on sex, based on location, right? But if you really apply clustering algorithm will create the groups which are similar to each other, right? And these groups can emerge based on those who are using high data or using low data, or maybe billing usage or whatever, right? Okay, and based on that you will first do the clustering, and then later on this will become a classification problem for you, right? The another thing, if you want to replicate mother, right? So you enter your house after 12 midnight, covering your mouth, and your mother is able to identify that you were in lounge, you are drunk, right? It's suspicious behavior. Now how do you really train machines to actually check the suspicion, anomaly, or whether it is normal or a weird? Like, for example, you're using credit card, you have never done transaction more than $500, and all of a sudden you did a 10,000 transaction. Bank will call you, sir, is it you who has done the transaction, right? So this is basically finding the anomaly, that your behavior is not normal. You have been doing the transaction of $500, right? And then what should I do next, which is a reinforcement learning, which is typically used in games, which is used in, say, autonomous vehicles. So this is like a 20,000 feet view about machine learning. Conceptually, it's very simple. Going deeper into mathematics is very tough. Applying syntax is still much easier, right? So it's much more complicated than what I have explained you in 5 minutes, but at least this meetup is for that only, right? You can take a snapshot, so we don't have much time, otherwise I have shown you. Let me check if we have time. Okay, so let me show you this very good API. Okay, you can take a snapshot and just see it. So this personality insight API is very good API. So you will find a lot of kitchen philosophers in your group, those who write a lot of philosophy on Facebook. Just cut paste their philosophy and put into this personality insight. This personality insight will tell you whether they are fake, whether they are fraud, whether they're introvert or extrovert. And anyway, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't care. Mark Zuckerberg cares what you will buy and what you will not buy. So this will also tell you what you're likely to buy whether bicycle or a car, or which car, right? A low-cost car or a high-cost car. Quite a scary thing. So your generation and my generation has become immortal. So beware what you're sharing on Facebook. And even if you're stealing something. Okay, what are the tools? These are the tools, popular tools for machine learning. R is still passport, right? Because R is basically for statistical analysis, and since machine learning is all about mathematics, understanding machine learning through R is much simpler. But now people are jumping on Python, because with Python you can really build products much easier, and deep learning frameworks are generally available in Python. So if your approach is more of Vodafone, the data size was 40 GB, and we could not really do it in R. We use Spark MLib. Microsoft Azure and this AWS ML, these two platforms, or even Google, these platforms help you to really take your model. Model is nothing bunch line of code. To import into this platform will create API, and you don't have to really care about the scale. And these APIs you can incorporate into any mobile app or any website, Because, for example, you build a recommender system, like behind this recommender system which I have shown you is basically naked code of Python. But this code need to really work in PHP side. This site is a PHP site. How do you really make code of Python working in PHP side? If you don't know the deeper level of coding, you'll have your own difficulty. But with these platforms, you can easily take those codes, create the API, and consume it any kind of platforms, right? So you don't have to really be a super good coder or software developer to actually build even data products, right? So these platforms are pretty handy. The godfather of deep learning, and he's a professor in University of Toronto. Deep learning basically is more useful in images, more useful in text, video, these kind of applications. And it basically works on replication of or mimicking the human brain, right? And the accuracy levels are very high in deep learning than the traditional machine learning. So we covered briefly about machine learning, deep learning. Deep learning itself will be organizing a separate deep learning meetup, and you guys can really attend that. Let's come down to data scientists. So you have heard about this. You read this statement. Highly abused and mostly used. Anybody who has read actually this article? Anybody who read this article? Okay, fantastic. So I think headline sales. Nobody cares what is inside. So I would highly recommend that actually you read this article, because this image is heavily used by every coaching class and every institution to really lure students. I know most of the data scientists in this country and worldwide, and we ourselves are doing a lot of work. I don't claim that I am data scientist, but this job is messy. Nowhere it is closer to being sexiness, right? There's no sexiness in this job, right? It's not Shah Rukh Khan and Deepika Padukone's job. What is sexiness in this job, anyway? Briefly to the history, and that will really help you to really understand from where all these things started and how these things are actually related to each other. Any idea when these internet companies actually started? All these internet companies? 2000, good. Okay, so mid-90s and late 90s, right? So in 5 years, right? eBay was started in 95, Google was started in 99, right? All these companies, internet companies, were started during that time. And when Google was started, Google had no idea how they're going to really make money, right? Of course, Dev was knew that he will make money by selling book, but he never could imagine that he will become Amazon will become a multi-trillion-dollar company. So when Google started, they had no idea how they will make money. So when you search on Google, say, where is this auditorium, right? How the Google will make money? Because if you search, Google will consume its resources. How they'll make money? Or if you search where is CP, or where to find the best dosa, or how they will make money? Ads, right? Yeah. So when they started, they had no idea that they can really actually make money with ad. Just like Mark Zuckerberg had no idea how he will make money with Facebook. Now, so if you're searching for, say, where is CP, right? Imagine, take a real life example. Let's bring it down to a road. So you're taking a placard, a direction board, and standing and showing a direction to everybody that here is a MACD, right? Imagine that MACD will pay you money if people really reach over there after this meetup. But do you think that everybody will be interested in MACD? No, right? So you'll end up making few bucks, but how about if you can really just see their face and you know what this guy is likely to really buy, whether he's going to really buy KFC or butter chicken or kadhi rice or whatever, right? And you keep on showing them the stuff. And if you have to really do that, then you have to really become mother of everybody, right? Your mother knows everything about you, right? But now I doubt. right? Google knows everything about you, Facebook knows about everything. So if they have to become your mother, they have to start collecting the data. Your mother has been collecting the data consciously and subconsciously even before you were born, right? So the data is there. She can really read you without you opening up your mouth, right? And if Google has to really replicate this kind of stuff, Google need to start collecting the data. Or for that matter, every company. And they all started collecting the data. They started seeing the traffic traction in early 2000, and they all started collecting the data. And Google realized that if they have to keep on collecting this data and they have to keep on storing this data, they'll go bankrupt, and this is not a scalable model. And that's how they figured it out, that how to really store the data. And they figured it out and they released a white paper called GFS, which was picked up by a gentleman called Doug Cutting. And Doug Cutting was in 2006, was working on an open source project called Nudge. He took this white paper and he built a system called Hadoop, right? And Hadoop is a fantastic thing. It is flexible. So when Google is collecting the data or Facebook is collecting the data, they're collecting all kind of data. They're not just collecting your name and your age or location, all those stuff. They're collecting everything, log, images, videos, right? Everything, your email, almost all kind of stuff, which is structured, unstructured data, all kind of stuff they are collecting. And can you really put all those kind of stuff into any structured RDMMS? Can you really just take this data and dump it? No, you can't. Hadoop actually offers that flexibility. So you can really take all this crap, dump it, and whenever you want to really analyze, take it back, analyze, put it into the structure and analyze. So this is one thing which made Hadoop very promising, that it is flexible. Second, it's free of cost. And they donated it to Apache Foundation 2008 when they built one of the largest big data infrastructure in Yahoo. So Doug Cutting joined Yahoo. So it is free of cost, it is flexible. And the another thing, when you really store this data, where do you store this data? Servers. And servers are nothing but gold bricks. So you need to really remove your dependency on storage of this data on servers. And that's what they did. So Hadoop can work on any commodity hardware. I can really run on this laptop or any assembled machine. So even if you go on Amazon, EC2, in fine print they have written that most of their infrastructure is built on commodity hardware. It doesn't mean that they don't use the high-grade server infrastructure. They do use, but majority infrastructure is built on the commodity hardware. So it is free of cost, it is flexible, and it is not dependent on server, because a commodity hardware and server grade hardware, the cost difference is typically 1:5 and 1:10, right? This is the kind of price difference is there. And that brought the revolution of storage of this data, right? Which solved one problem, that if you store the data, you can really analyze. This I'm talking about 2008. 2008, Doug Cutting, data science is quite old word. Dr. Patil, who was working in LinkedIn that time, and his friend Jeff, who was working in Facebook. These two guys, both of them a PhD. If you do PhD, your DNA structure gets changed, right? And these guys, they hated this designation of data analyst. So they thought, and because moreover, they were doing a lot of advanced level of the job than the data analyst. Data analysts, business analysts, that time were doing the structured data analysis, and still they are doing it, barring few of them. So what they did, they came up with a new designation on a lot of things can happen on a beer mug. So in a pub, they came up with this funny name, couple of names, and they picked up this data scientist word, right? So not only they coined this word, they crowned themselves and they started calling themselves as a data scientist. And that's how this data scientist word became woke in Silicon Valley. And 2012, DJ Patil wrote this article, Data Scientist, the Sexiest Job in HBR. And then the world got on fire, right? And that's a brief history. Now, in post-2005, so all these data, when they were gathering, you cannot really do a lot of manual analysis. Just like, for example, Amazon. When you really search for any product on Amazon, Amazon gives you recommendation out of close to 5 billion products. and you will be one of 160 million customers, which is bigger than Russia's population. Imagine the kind of computation they need to really do, right? And this kind of analysis cannot be done manually. What it means that you need to really build systems which will do the automated analysis. And if you have to really recommend ad, this cannot be done manually. This need to be done automatically. And the moment automation comes, automated data analytics comes, the data science and AI will come into the picture. So AI, which was lying into all the university labs and IBM research center kind of stuff, it renewed, all these commercial organizations renewed the interest in AI and these areas. And that's how this AI, which was conceptualized in way back in late 50s, all of a sudden emerged in last, say, how many years? Roughly 10 years. So data scientist word was coined in 2008. Big data came into existence 2008, right? This deep learning algorithms, Jeffrey Hinton brought it in 2008, roughly, right? 2008-10. So all these things are not like even 2 decades back. All these things has happened in last 1 decade, last 10 years. And that's the reason this has not become a part of mainstream academia, right? And still academia is struggling. So does it really set up the context for you, right? And that's the reason all of these things are quite interrelated. So though we are trying to really put them into multiple buckets, it is not justifiable to really put into multiple buckets. Just like a lot of large companies in North America, they have separate designation for data scientists, separate designation for machine learning engineers, separate designation for business analysts. Even in India, large companies do have, but smaller companies, startup companies and mid-sized companies, they have merged all these roles. So there's no separate role for machine learning guy or business analyst and data scientist. Like Naukri, Shadi.com comes on our campus. They used to earlier hire business analysts. Now they stopped hiring business analysts. They're hiring the data scientists. Because for one job, if I look at my heart of as an entrepreneur and businessman, I would not like to really have 2 people doing the same kind of job. So any analysis which does not make sense to me is actually useless, whether it is done by a data scientist or a business analyst. So a lot of startup companies, mid-sized companies are merging, right? Okay, so we set up the context. Now let's try to really define it. So data science is nothing but it's basically making sense out of the data, right? Very simple. The only complicated stuff is data. So data, all these organizations, marketing manager, finance manager, they all have been analyzing this. Business analysts were analyzing this. The only thing they were analyzing the structured data, which is row column data, small data, typically in Excel sheet format. Now today, to take a decision, you need to really analyze the large volume of structured data, unstructured data. 80% of the world data is unstructured data, right? It is in text, images, video, all those kind of format, which you need to really analyze to take the right decision. Then data science is also about automating the data science, means building up a data product, which is like these recommender systems. Now there's a lot of debate. New age AI guys say that this product is built by them. Old data scientists say that this is built by us. Software engineers claim that this is built by us without understanding it anyway, right? So a lot of debate goes. You can build these kind of beautiful products even without understanding a single thing about machine learning or deep learning or anything. Ready APIs are there. But how long you will be able to really go, you don't know. You will not be able to figure out what is the accuracy and how they are actually performing or not until unless you don't have the deeper level of mathematics. At this point of time, market doesn't care, but in longer run, when the customer issues will start popping up, you'll have those issues. This is typically skill and competency metrics. You need to know the domain knowledge, but you don't have to really worry if you're starting your career, because as you go on your career, if you do a couple of projects with banking industry, you'll start picking up those jingles and jargons, and you'll learn from those experts. And large companies, anyway, they have a lot of tons of data, say domain experts, those who will help you. Most important thing, what you need to understand is stats, mathematics, probability. In a sense, mathematics. How many of you actually know what is linear equation? I'll not ask you the question and humiliate you. So don't worry. What is the application of linear equation? Or where this differential calculus is actually applied? What is the use of that? Okay, so these are very simple things, and you should not blame yourself that you don't know because you have never been told. Right? When I studied, I always got 100 out of 100. I never knew actually these things. Okay, so these things you need to really know. You need to really think mathematically. All these machine learning is nothing but basically mathematics. And then machine learning. What is machine learning? We already explained you. The original name of machine learning is statistical learning, right? So all these machine learning algorithms like regression, linear regression is built on the linear equation, right? And these are all mathematics wrapped into a code of Julia or Python or R or Java or any other thing so that you don't have the heart attack. But at the core, it's all mathematics. So we are basically consumer of algorithms. So a lot of people freely use this word that I build the algorithm. No, you have not built the algorithm. You're nowhere nearer to that. You have just built the model using that algorithm, right? So you have trained that algorithm on some data which has become a model, right? So algorithm building capability is still not there in India. Typically it's built by either Russians or Ukrainians or Japanese or Polish, these guys, those who are extremely good in mathematics. And then a lot of IT tools. So you can bundle all these IT tools, which is like R, Python, Spark, Watson, Tableau, ClickSense, and they keep on changing, right? So today you will study Python, maybe after 2 years, Julia will become prominent. You will start using Julia or some other platform or some other languages you don't know, right? Or maybe 10 years down the line, you will stop coding because machines will start coding. It is applied in almost every industry. There is no single industry where it is not applied. Even the government of India is using it. So government of India 3 years back launched a project called iInsight, and which is helping government of India to send you income tax notices. And that's how the income tax recovery has increased drastically, right? So they are using it extensively. Niti Aayog is using data science and running a lot of competition to build up AI applications and data science applications for social good and for governance. Okay, so data science covers almost all these things: data integration, distributed architecture, data visualization, dashboarding, BI. You may hate it, but that's what decision makers would like to really first thing. And dashboard is no more static dashboard. These are dynamic dashboard, the way I have shown it to you, right? Data engineering, and that's where the big data comes into the picture. You are understanding about SQL and Hadoop and Spark, which will come into the picture. Deployment into production mode. So 90% of the models which you build, so the other way I was talking to Sayan Sen, who is the chief data scientist at HDFC, and he says, whatever my team builds these models, 90% of these models never went into the production. And that's not the only sentiment with HDFC that I have discussed with a lot of data scientists and a lot of companies. And the primary reason is that most of the data scientists, they either come from statistics background or whichever background, they have simply actually learned machine learning. And which actually good thing, but also partly give them the handicapness because they build the model which could be in R and Python. And perhaps our model cannot be consumed in a site which is running on a Java, right, or Ruby. And sometime, because they are inefficient language, sometime the developer need to really rewrite that entire model, rewrite that entire code into Java, because that's much more efficient. And in that process, if they really make any mistake, that model will not be in production. And even this whole translation process takes a lot of time. So 90%, and as the time passes, those models will become irrelevant because you will start collecting some new form of the data, new features will keep on adding, right? So you have to really go back and again change the model. And that's the issue. And that's where we have come up with a model of building up a full stack data scientist, which essentially means that not only you will build the model, but you will consume these models into any application or a web app. And that kind of entire life cycle you need to really understand. So we simulated a lab wherein you have 2 Android developers, you have full stack developers, and you work with them. So at least you build some kind of understanding that how this model will be actually deployed. And model building is difficult, but only very small piece, right? It need to go into the product. And how this will really look like. So you created a beautiful visualization. But how this visualization piece will fit into my dashboard, right? Which is very complicated, very complicated. And how a million users will, if they start hitting that dashboard, how this dashboard will behave? It will crash, it will slow down your website or not, right? So it's quite complicated when you really put into the production model, because a majority of the companies today, I'm seeing these startup companies, they simply want to build the products. So they are not satisfied with your only capability of building up a model. Okay, so this is typically difference between, this is overgeneralization, so I don't want to really, anybody business analyst over here? Okay, so I don't want to really kill me outside, right? So these are data analysts, these are business analysts, and these are data scientists. Okay, oversimplification, right? A lot of business analysts actually gone to this level as well. They have learned machine learning. And if a business analyst, so our 15 to 20% intake is basically business analysts. And what we realize, business analysts becomes better data scientists because they have a huge depth of the business understanding, right? They understand the domain. And roughly around 15% are the MBA graduates, right? And they also become better data scientists because their understanding about business is much better. They can really have a better dialogue with business. Okay, so these are the couple of skills. Maths, machine learning, NLP these are quite prominent skill, which I think will sustain for even next 10 years or 5 years, right? What will happen after 10 years, I don't know. But mathematics were relevant for last 200 years. It seems me that it will keep on relevant for even next 100 years, till the time machine doesn't replace us, which is not happening in any near future. Hadoop is going down, Spark is still relevant, Python, and these are tons of other skills which you can really pick up. These are more for, say, AI part, right? You can take snaps, or I can really upload the PPT. Okay, any question? Okay, so most of the companies which are coming for the recruitment, 80% of the companies are not unheard. And most of these companies are sitting with massive funding, like Niramai, you have not heard, right? And these startup companies pay typically 2 to 3 times than the structured company, large companies. And they're doing amazingly good piece of work. They're doing engaged work. They're really doing, applying deep learning and machine learning and those kind of stuff, which large companies are not. Right? How do I enter? How many of you want to enter into this field? Okay, good. Okay, so there are a lot of blogs. This is one of our blog you can really refer, but there are tons of the blog, analytical Vidya there. You can go on Data Break. One of the best resources which I have seen, and if you guys want to understand big data, then this is again a big data white paper along with Deloitte and Aegis. This white paper was a recent white paper which is on NLG. Right? NLG is subset of AI, and this is evolved form of NLP. And NLG is a technology through which you can actually convert any graph into a readable text format. So if you want to really read, say, annual balance sheet of Apple or Tech Mahindra or any company, for human being to read through those tables and graph becomes very complicated. This NLG converts all those stuff into readable human format, right? This we have done with vPhrase, which is a leading company in NLG. You can pick up short courses on Coursera, edX, Udemy, right? You have a lot of short courses on FAM now. Other has got a lot of black money still left with him after demonetization, and your brain doesn't function. I will recommend go and join some business analytics program, right? 90% of the crap is basically management. All these years, none of the company actually came and asked me that, okay, Bhupesh, we need people, those who know what is marketing analytics, financial analytics, or operations analytics, right? These are basically the management schools have converted marketing into marketing analytics. And if you study finance, anyway, you will be studying financial statements. So they have converted into financial analytics. So 90% of the curriculum is still management, and for 10% they will teach you R or a Python or some Tableau kind of stuff, which will not make you even a salesman, right? That's a blunt response, right? Okay, those who don't want money and you have some skills, we're inviting as a interns. You can really join as an intern. Every year we give internship to almost close to 12 people. This year,
view what we have got about data science, AI, what is the job market is going on, and what skills are there, the hottest skills in which you have to upgrade yourself upon. So now I'll be just walking you through. Then we have a very exciting panel. We have our rock stars here, what we call them, the alumni or proud alumni. They are working with Deloitte, EY, and Dunhamby, yes. So we'll be having their panel discussion. It will be very exciting. Most of you will get their journey, what sort of projects they are working upon, on which skills they are working upon. They will give you the live insights of the industry. So before going to that panel discussion, because one of our panelists is on the way, so he'll be reaching here by 12, 25 or 30. Meanwhile, I'll just walk you through with the info session about the courses, what we offer. Okay? सेम जैसे वहाँ पे लगा है वैसे यहाँ पे आएगा सेम जैसे वो किया है उसी के बेस में आएगा